just popped into the Dukery's Garden Centre halfway between Worksop and Market Warsop, and I'd like to have a walk around this large car park. It's an old sort of walled garden that's been turned over the years into a large car park. Around the edges of it can be rather untidy. Well, if you're a gardener, but if you're an entomologist, an ideal place for wildlife. There's one large, very, very large plant of prickly lettuce here, and wherever prickly lettuce grows, especially in the southern half of the UK, you're very likely to find a caterpillar of one particular moth. On here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. This particular prickly lettuce is full of the caterpillars of the Small Ranunculus, a moth which, another one of those moths that's gone great guns and has raced up through the UK once again. It became extinct at one time and then started turning up as a migrant down south, and now it's everywhere. And wherever, as I mentioned, that you find prickly lettuce, which is a rather horrible looking plant, to be honest, it grows in the cracks of walls and the sides of pavements, you will get the caterpillars of Small Ranunculus. It really is an extremely obvious caterpillar, one of the most obvious that you could find. There are numerous sort of colour forms, but generally it's bright green. There's an olive green one here in the foreground, and that's brighter green one there in the background, if I can keep them in focus. But you can even see another one back here. The caterpillars feed on the old flower heads and the developing seed heads, and they are extremely obvious. There's no need to look on the foliage of prickly lettuce for these caterpillars, and you can see these just so easily. There are different sized caterpillars here. These are not far off being full grown, probably got one more instar to go, but there are smaller ones too. And here is one that is full grown. This is sort of midway between the two colour forms, the olive green and the bright green that I've just showed you. So this is a very large, it's the largest prickly lettuce that I've seen, to be honest, and there are probably a couple of dozen at least larvae on here. It's very much a moth of urban areas, is Small Ranunculus. I've never had it at Ekring or at any site away from built up areas. It's regular in the garden, and well, you would get it every night. I ran the trap every night at home in the flight season. But it's so easy, if not easier, to record while in the larval state. So prickly lettuce grows anywhere, often grows, say, at the base of walls and at the sides of roads up against pavements. It will grow anywhere. And in an urban setting, if you have a look on prickly lettuce, you will see the caterpillars of the Small Ranunculus, which is a beautiful moth. It's an absolute beauty of a thing. It died out in the UK in the early 1900s, and then in the earlier part of the 2000s it started to come back, and Nottinghamshire soon had record and record and record, and it is a common moth now, certainly under recorded, because people don't go and look for the caterpillar, and it's one of the easiest caterpillars that you could look for. All the larvae are here and here as well. Smaller larvae here, there. It's quite often really good when you get an isolated plant of anything. Often worth checking, because that one plant can often be loaded with the larvae or eggs of butterflies or moths that feed on that plant. there isn't a deer that feeds on this ugly monstrosity. And it really is. It has nice enough little yellow flowers, look. But for the rest of the time, it is one of our most ugliest plants. The caterpillars, easy to identify, so there's virtually nothing else I know of will feed on prickly lettuce, and they're all variations on this sort of olive green. They can be dark olive green through to brown, to the colour of the stem that this one is on, but when younger they are a brighter green, and there's an obvious sort of pale stripe down the side of the caterpillars in all stages, but it's more prevalent in the younger, earlier instars. Very easy to identify. You're not going to mistake this with anything else, at least not that I'm aware of. It just goes to show you what can be found in the most unlikely of places. Just goes to show you what can be found where you don't need no fancy habitat a lot of the time to find invertebrates. And although many moth trappers will have seen the adult small ranunculus, how many have actually gone out and looked for the larva? I wouldn't even say it's a challenge really. Find prickly lettuce, you'll find small ranunculus, no matter where you are.